Okay, so sometimes I just print off the notes so I just can do it quicker. So let's take a look at the top. So we have a graph, and we have our bow tie that we talked about. Let's go big red. Our bow tie that we talked about. And we know in quadrant 1 in the top right hand corner, all the sides are positive. Therefore, all sine, cos, and tangent are all positive. And we're going to use a mnemonic device. All sine, cos, and tan are positive. Because sine is opposite of hypotenuse. The opposite is positive and the hypotenuse is positive. And go through that for cos and tan. So, off to the left, big blue. Quadrant 2. Oh, I'm going to identify theta. I never identified theta. Theta, 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 theta. Always. Those reference angles inside the bow tie, touching the x-axis. Okay, so, again, in big blue, quadrant 3. Well, the opposite is positive and the hypotenuse is positive, but the adjacent is negative. So, sine is positive because it's opposite of hypotenuse. Cos is negative because it's adjacent of hypotenuse. Negative divided by positive is negative. And tan is opposite, TOA, opposite over adjacent, positive or negative, negative. And what we do is we remember down below the second part of the mnemonic device, S. Only sine is positive. Students, S. All students, AS. Okay, in yellow, quadrant 3, the opposite is negative, the adjacent is negative, the hypotenuse is positive. If you want to know why the hypotenuse is always positive, do Pythag. The last step is square rooting. The answer has to be positive, therefore. And off to the left, sine is therefore negative, cos is therefore negative, and tan is positive. Only tan is positive in the T quadrant. Quadrant 4, big green. The opposite's negative, the adjacent's positive, and the hypotenuse is positive. Therefore, sine's negative, cos is positive, and tan's negative. C, calculus, only C is positive. So from now on, my physics mentors are not going to like me, but we're going to call it an ASTC graph. Meaning all sine, cos, and tan are positive. Only sine is positive. T, only tan is positive. C, only cos is positive. Because if we do it this way, it's actually going to allow us sometimes to better see solutions rather than get limiting answers sometimes. Now, if you are doing physics, I would recommend a different method going forward. Learning about which quadrant sine and cos are positive in based on their graphs, and it will be a lot better for physics. But for the rest of pre-calc 11 and 12, we're going to use the ASTC graph. All students take calculus. Only all sine, cos, and tan are positive. S, students, only sine is positive. T, take, only tan is positive. Calculus, only cos is positive. ASTC. ASTC graph at the bottom every single time you ever do a question when you're stuck. ASTC. Great, so let's use what we've learned so far between angles and our ASTC graph.